That's right. Late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing you Street Geek and Nerd Soul. What is up, my people? Today all year, coming with another wonderful episode of That's Right on Screen. We are here to have a good time, relax, and enjoy a cool episode. Gotta go on and finish up that food, baby. A cool episode talking about Alice in Borderland. And this is a show that I wanted to get into because I had a lot of fun watching this one. I ain't gonna front with y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I had a lot of fun watching this. And it's something that I was worried about when I saw the trailer, but ended up being like, oh, snap, all right, I see where you're going. And they also shift gears during it as well. So we also shift gears in it during it as well. So it's kind of gets on you, and it's kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of cool. So what I want to get into is some of the acting, some of the direction, some of the how should you say, directorial skills and how this was put off, because we got a bunch of cool kills, we got a bunch of cool actors, cool characters and stuff, and a cool setup to something that I didn't know was, based on a manga and all that stuff before. I was like, oh snap, this is totally new to me. So Alice in Borderland, if you didn't know, is basically centered around these people that get caught up in this weird game where they're stuck in a city and they're chilling, everything's cool, it's normal, right? Antoine Island in the house, what up? So they're cool, they're chilling, regular city living, minding their business. Then all of a sudden, there's fireworks, lights go out, they turn around, and ain't nobody in the city. And they're stuck in this kind of, what it seems to be, like this kind of like Elseworld or pocket dimension or whatever, in a situation where they are set up, and I'll make a correlation to another property later, but they're in this place where nobody's in the city but them and other people that are stuck in this game. And nobody knows if there's a way to get out of the game. Nobody knows who's running the game. Nobody knows anything, but these games have crazy high stakes because people are dying. Like, you can die. There's like these crazy lasers that, come down from the sky, kill you, bust you in your head, and you just laying there with your eyes all on fire or whatever. And it's very intriguing. It's fun. And the thing that I like about this show is these are some characters that I actually ended up getting into. Like, all right, so our main character is, and please forgive me, you know what I'm saying? I'm very bad when it comes to names like this, so I'm gonna try to be as good as possible, but understand I'm not Japanese, you know what I'm saying? So, the pronunciation may not be all that, but that doesn't change the fact of my excitement and my energy about this show. So Arisu is the lead character, and we meet him. He's kind of like this video game, seems to be kind of like the slacker, kind of like laying around, not really doing anything, but just playing all day. Like, mind just focused on games. And we meet his two friends. One is a bartender. One that kind of works at kind of like a regular day job, 9-to-5 kind of gig. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. They're all kind of like good buddies. They hang out. They have a good time together. They're kind of silly, but, they're their crew. And, it makes sense. They work, it works together. They're hanging out and they're, bugging out in the city and playing around in the crosswalk. And they actually end up like almost getting hit by a car. And these three, unfortunately, because it's not like the illest people get sucked into the game. You ain't gonna have like Snake Eyes get sucked into the game. It's gonna be like these guys are just your general, everyday, laid back kind of dudes that don't really do much. You know what I'm saying? They're running from cops. They hide into this bathroom stall, and then that's when we see fireworks. After that, everything changes in a good way. I thought this was going to be whack at first. Like, the trailer looked intriguing, but when we got into the first episode, I was like, I don't know. This seems kind of whack. You know, they get out of the bathroom stall, and now nobody's here. We've kind of seen similar stuff before, but shouts to the acting. What kept me around when I was like, we've kind of seen situations before where someone goes somewhere, they close the door, they open it, nobody's in the city or nobody's in the house or whatever, and they're by themselves. What really helped here is these guys, as far as like maybe, I guess what you could say, what is it? I guess what you could say, their chemistry really works on screen. Like, they seem like friends. They seem like buddies that hang out. And it really worked for me. And it kind of drew me into their friendship. You know, whether how silly they were or whatever, you know, it still sucked me into their friendship. And you see them kind of like waiting around. There's nobody in the city. And they're just like, well, I guess there's nothing we can do. We're just stuck here in this city. And then you finally see the light come on at a building. And that's what thrusts us into the show, where they play this game. And you realize that it's a puzzle. And some games, you know, some games are puzzles, some games are playing with your heart, things of that nature. And each game kind of pulls or tugs on either the emotion or the intellect of one of our characters. And, oh, and also letting you know, one thing that I'm going to be doing in this, if you're brand new to the channel, is I am definitely going to be spoiling this joint. I like how we see them slowly go from being bewildered to kind of excited, and then also completely inquisitive with the game thing, into complete horror when people start dying. And it all seems real the whole time. Like, I mean, of course, I know I'm watching television, but they play it well. They play it straight. And a good thing about this show is we get into the first game, the first challenge, and they're going from room to room. There's fire setting off, and there's a young girl that kind of like, you know, there's a young girl that dies early and stuff like that, and from going into the wrong room. But they beat that challenge, and you see a setup in the first 2 or 3 episodes of them doing different challenges that seems like it could be, this could be kind of corny. This could come off kind of whack. I don't know. This is kind of, you know, it's just redundant. We're just doing what is the challenge of the week kind of thing. But they introduced, because at first we're like, yo, who's running this game? And we kind of forget about that for a moment. But in another challenge in this apartment complex or whatever, we find out that there are people that have certain wristbands. And it's about, you know, this guy tells one of the users or one of the players that's a research friend, like, yo, there's this beach thing, and you hear about the beach. And the issue with the beach opens up, you know, it opens up the game and the show in a whole new way. The show goes from like being like this weekly kind of issue for the first part of the show into the next part of the show, where we're dealing with a community and how to deal with this kind of quasi post-apocalyptic community where there's no real authority except what the people have invented at the time due to what they're in, you know what I'm saying, the situation that they're going through. And big shout to Antoine Allen, said, yeah, I was going to ask who the game masters are. Are they, I guess, are you saying, are they aliens? I don't know if they're aliens or not. They do bring it up in the show, like being like, are they aliens? Who's running this? Who's in charge? We're not sure. And I'll get into kind of like the beach and all that in a second. But yeah, I am very intrigued by the way the show ends to see where this goes. And if it continues to be this good, I definitely want to stick around. So let's get into some of the characters. Because the characters really, really, you know, they hook a brother up in a way where I'm like, yo, I'm connected to this story. I'm ready to roll. So I'm gonna go with some MVPs, and of course, we're still spoiling everything. All right, MVP number one. The Hatter. The Hatter is, of course, the man, he's the man that's running the beach as a whole. When you meet him, extremely flamboyant, kind of weird, definitely a sexually charged type dude, but he's running the beach where everybody has to wear swimsuits and bikinis all the time, so I mean, everybody have butt naked every day anyway. And you have him who he's in charge, but his boy as well is in charge, who's what is the guy's name? I cannot remember. What is it? Aguni. And I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but Aguni is his friend, and those two together, the way they offset one another, especially when they play their kind of like history and flashbacks, you see this guy who's just like, he works at a hat shop, as opposed to this guy who's an SDP or SDP officer, and seeing them play off of each other in the past as opposed to now in the game, it's very interesting because you have Aguni who's become very militarized, like extremely militarized, and he's running like the military force of the beach, if you could say there is one. And then you have, of course, the Hatter who's the head of it all. And through the show, we see the Hatter's slow descent into chaos and madness, where the SDP officer is forced to do something, in killing his friend that he never really wanted to do. And we see a great parallel to that in Arisu's story as well, because early on, there's a game of hearts. I think it's a 7 of hearts. There's a game of hearts that he plays where we find that, unfortunately, through a game of, I guess, sort of hide and seek, the wolves and sheep, we find out that he's got to make the decision to stay alive while his friends are killed, instead of trying to figure out a way where everyone stays alive. And I thought that's what would happen, but that's definitely not what we get. And going back to the Hatter, the thing that I like about him is seeing how slow the turn to kind of this madness becomes, and how Aguni has to deal with it. Because when we meet Aguni, we meet him on the apartment kind of like game. And we know he's a tough guy. We know he's super strong. We know he's definitely ready to fight, and he can take a hit. But then when we see him juxtaposed with his friend, you see him kind of take a back seat and allow him to run the place, and him be in charge of like the weapons. And then with that, you see these weapons used on the people at the beach because of the complete craziness of the Hatter. And Aguni realizing that, Hatter gotta go. And I think that's something that's super cool in this show, because this could have easily been a show about how many kills and how cool are the kills, like Final Destination. But this opens up so much more with the people being complete and full characters, instead of something like Final Destination, which this is kind of close to, and I'll name another property as well, where they're just people to get killed. they're stereotypes to be killed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is the black guy, this is the nerd, this is the preppy dude, this is the pretty chick. That doesn't happen here. We find through decisions and through flashbacks how full these characters' lives are, and how important it is that they either survive or that they go. Like, you have in this, we have Last Boss. Last Boss is interesting. Last Boss is the guy, he has a sword, he has tattoos all over his face, right? And he's up against, oh man, what was her name? She was with the dude, I cannot remember his Kuina. I think it's Kuina. Hikari. I think it's Hikari Kuina. I think, and I'm gonna double check that real quick while I talk about her. He's up against her, basically, you know, in a one-on-one fight. But we find out even his past has a reason for all these tattoos, and then we go through her past, finding out that she was a young boy who felt differently about his body and everything, and became a woman, and then you know was being disowned by her father, but still had, you know, fighting skills and stuff. So we find through these layers, like when we first meet her, she's just like, oh, she's like this guy's weird friend that just sticks around. And what is it, Chisuya? Please forgive me, but you know, she kind of sticks around, but we don't know. And then we end up finding like, yo, her story is mad deeper. Like even when we see her go back to meet her mother on her deathbed before being part of the game, there's so much in these characters that help tell the story. And of course, you know, you're talking about a series where you get 8 hours of content as opposed to something in like, say, Final Destination where it's like 2 hours. But we actually get characters to find out what their motivations are, and that their motivations are reasonable. And I like that. I like the fact that they're, you know, I mean, of course, it's TV land, it's TV world or whatever. But you see people that make reasonable choices. There's a man, the guy, what is it? Naragi, I think Naragi. Naragi is the guy who, of course, you know, before all this, used to get beat up all the time. And now inside the game at the beat, since he's part of the like sort of militia, he's wilding out. He literally goes on a killing spree. Like dude starts a killing spree that's kind of sanctioned by a Goonie. But that's a whole nother part that if you haven't seen the show, I won't spoil that part. But being on the beach with these characters, being solo with these characters shows that this world has changed them fundamentally, especially seeing where they were in their flashbacks and what this game will do to you, do to those around you, and how much it'll make you regret, how much it might make you shut down, how much it might make you go into depression, or how much it might make you just want to give up. There's a lady that we revealed to be part of the game in general. What is it? Kano Mira. And we find out that she is reluctant. We'll say reluctant. I think in seeing how she acts in general, I'm trying not to walk all over the you know the story, but we do find a young lady that seems to be reluctant, that seems to be caring in some way, you know, in a way, in her own way. She's not the most loving, she's not the most loving person because of course she's part of the game, but you do see how it wears on her. And she has this kind of like self-shot video, first person shot video, where she's just talking about the game in general and talking about what the game, how she feels about the game, what it's done to her. And it kind of leads us to more revelations at the end of the season. And it's surprising at how much you can end up, because these are the people that are helping all these folks die. But then at the end of it, the way it's directed, the way this show is directed in a very intentional pace, and the way that this young lady and her friend who ends up actually killing herself, that kind of sparks a whole nother incident, you see how it wears on them. And the way they play it directorial-wise, the way they act it out, keeps you engaged. This is a story that this is a show that could have easily fell apart without the body count. But this is a show that ends up being interesting even in between body counts because of how interesting the characters are. From Arisu to the young lady that we meet that helps him out. She used to be a rock climber. What is her name? Let me look it up. Usagi. Yuzuhai Usagi. And I know I'm crucifying the name. I apologize. But she has her own backstory with not only was she, connected to her father was a famous mountain climber, but what they shared in mountain climbing together and how much it meant to her and how that kind of became a sense of sorrow and maybe even a sense of dishonor to a certain degree. And it's interesting how they play her part out to bring in Arisu, who is hitting a depression after losing his friends, and why she worked so hard to save his life, and the kind of person he was at the beginning and who he's turning into, and how she kind of pulls him back from the ledge and stuff like that. And it ends up being a story that could have easily fell apart in the first, say, 2 episodes, and something that I truly dig. This is a fun show to watch. The one knock that I'll give against it is Netflix. Since I'm in the US, probably the Netflix from the start, or I guess by default, they'll play like the dubbed version. And dubbed works for animation because the way the lips move is different. But dubbed in live action, it just looks weird. It does. It just looks weird. So I'd prefer that they originally started off with just the Japanese vocals or Japanese audio, I guess, and then just give us the subtitles, because I watched it for like a minute or so. I was like, what? I'm like, is this dubbed? So I went in and put the Japanese vocals on it or Japanese audio on it, and then, turned it around. So it'd be like, just give me the Japanese audio and the subtitles, because it ended up being something that looked weird when I was watching like the first couple of minutes of it. Shouts to Vera Morris saying, I enjoyed this interesting concept. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Really dug it. Oh yeah, the face cards. So yeah, I did want to get into kind of like what we think about season 2 or what we're interested in getting to, because after a huge blow up at the beach, and when I say blow up, I actually mean blow up. We get to see at least a glimpse of this game master setting, and when you see the glimpse, it reminded me of Cabin in the Woods, which is another great property, which I would not mind watching some more Cabin in the Woods, like maybe a prequel, because of course at the end of Cabin in the Woods, it's not a good look, or maybe a look at the world after the gods come back or whatever. But yeah, Cabin in the Woods reminded me of Cabin in the Woods when we got to the end and saw kind of like a glimpse of how this game is set up, ran, performed, or whatever. And seeing that all of these cards have their own, like I believe the clubs are a game, like a puzzle game, and like hearts are a game of like, plays with people's hearts and maybe like deception and stuff. And diamonds is this and this, whatever. And we have most of all of the like the I guess the numbered cards, like 2 through 9, 2 through 10, but we don't have any face cards. And of course, the higher the card gets, the higher the difficulty is. And seeing that in season 2, we're probably going to be getting to the face cards, because you see like these banners drop with all the face cards all around the city that's been emptied. I am ready to see higher stakes. I am ready to see where this goes. Now, without something like the beach to rely on or fall back on, these people that have been forced to play this game and only get a reprieve if they win through, if they, of course, successfully pass through a game. I am ready to see where this goes. What games will be played? What else will be revealed? Hopefully not too much, because I'd like to see a show like this run for at least 3 seasons. I'd like to see I'd like to see us get deeper into the, I guess you could say, the conspiracy in season 2, and then maybe reveal and have a resolution. Maybe not a resolution that's good for the good guys, but a resolution, period, in season 3. Now, of course, if they go further in season 3, as long as it's good, I'll watch it. I don't care if it's 20 seasons. But as long as it's good, I'm here, and this show is awesome. I want to see where Arisu goes. I want to see where, what's her name, Usagi goes. You know, I want to see if there's any kind of remembrance for, you know, a Goonie or what's up, Panda? Hey, what's up? I want to see if there's any kind of new movement from what's the boy name? The dude with the white hair. Chisuya or Chisiya and Kuina. I want to see where they go because they and maybe there can be some trouble in paradise with the relationship because we see how Kuina was acting when Chisuya like sold out Arisu over like finding the cards, like the fake box of cards or whatever. So I would like to see maybe if allegiances shift and alliances are made with maybe game masters or people that are game masters and don't want to be game masters no more. You know, there's a lot of stuff in this that I'm like, yo, this is a dope show. Like, the trailer actually does it. Well, I don't know if I think the show, you know what? The trailer does a good job of telling you what you're getting into, but the show definitely far exceeds what the trailer says they're going to give you. I think there's a lot here relationship-wise between the characters interpersonally. I think there's a lot here for the people that come for the deaths. I think there's a lot here as far as a statement on society in general. And I think there's enough mystery to keep you sticking around. This is a show that you shouldn't let the main or default audio keep you from. It's good. It's good. It's very interesting. I like it. The game masters, the way we have these intricate games, the way the games are played. The effects are on point too. So I'd say this doesn't come off cheap. And on top of it, the acting and direction is on point. Also, big shout to the score that isn't too heavy-handed, but is just good enough. I really dig it. There's only like one part that I thought was kind of funny style, which was maybe the tiger, but that was still good. Shout out to Barrymore said, yeah, at first I was definitely going, what the heck is going on? Yeah, like I started watching, I was like, okay. I know a little bit from the trailer, so let's see how this goes. And say by the end of the first episode, I was like, okay, let's see. All right, I'm interested. What y'all doing? In episode 2, I said, wow, this is nice. Where y'all gonna go next? In episode 3, they got me. So I'm ready. I'll probably watch this over again sometime next year, just to refresh. Kind of like I do with a lot of Netflix shows and stuff. But this one is worthy, man. This one is worth your time. I'll be talking about another show that popped up and recommended for this, which is, Sweet Home, which I'm pretty positive on, but it's a little bit different. But this one is worth your time. Definitely. Can't wait to see more. Of course, with COVID, everything, we don't know when the production will start up or change or whatever it is. But this is definitely cool for the kills, cool for the acting. And there's a dope fight scene in here too. Don't sleep. We got some fight scenes in here that really come through. So guys, with that said, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you down in the comments. Let's talk about the one and only Alice in Borderland. It's got me. It's got me. So let me know what you think. I want to give a big shout out to everybody up in the chat. We got Antoine Allen. We got Panda. We got Vera Morris up in here. Yo, show was fun. I can't wait to see what else they do. And might actually think about picking up the manga too. Unless maybe I shouldn't, because I don't want to spoil anything. Maybe I should leave the manga alone until the show is done, and then I'll read the manga and see how I feel about it. Yeah. Because I don't want to be one of those people that's like, this didn't happen in the book. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be one of those people. So, of course, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. Hit the thumbs up if you like what you've seen. Hit the thumbs down if you don't. If you hit that thumbs down, might have to send a game master after you. I mean, hey, I don't know how it's going to work out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for hitting that thumbs up. Also, don't forget, podcast, if you want to listen. Check me out anywhere on podcast. You can be like, yo, I don't like YouTube like that. I just want a podcast. Let me hear what you said, brother. And then, you know what I'm saying, you can check that out. And Spotify for that music. Once again, a big shout out to thank all of my Patreon supporters. Love you guys. You guys help me out so much with just rent. It can be cords, cables, batteries, lights, whatever. It helps. Every penny helps. Trust your boy. So with that said, of course, we're going to leave y'all with Arcatron. That's right. The Space Bridge is in stores now. I will see you guys later this afternoon, or this evening, excuse me, for Beats Vibes Life. Don't forget, we're going to be talking about hip-hop in 2021. What do you want to see? What do we want to see? What do we want more of? What do we want less of? You know, what is our wish list for next year? Because, we're coming to the close and going to wrap it up. And tomorrow, I will do a show basically wrapping up the year in NERDSoul. What's been going on the channel, what's been going on with the business, all that stuff. And we can talk, we can get into a Q&A. Anything y'all wanted to know about NERDSoul, I will try to answer it unless y'all are too crazy. And I hope y'all come through because I'd love to hear what y'all want to do next year. You know, what y'all want to talk about next year. What are y'all interested in and all that. And we got some guests coming through tomorrow. We got Star Trek tomorrow. We got a whole lot coming. Tomorrow is going to be awesome. So, we got somebody with jelly on his mouth right now. So, say peace. Say we out. Yeah. Say love all y'all. So with that said, from us to you, we're just saying peace. Give them a woo. Give them a woo for them. Give them a woo. Oh boy, we out, y'all. Much love. Yeah.